I've stood in enough Texas gun shops to watch every kind of buyer, guys chasing hype, others swearing they're done for good. But then there's the rare moment someone walks back in and pays up for a pistol they already owned once before. You don't see it often. Most guns never earn that. Call it trust, muscle memory, or just not wanting to settle again. Doesn't matter. When you buy a gun twice, it's because it earned its place the hard way. I never believed it myself. Not until I was standing there with cash out, ready to make the same mistake twice. Stay with me, because the gun at the end of this list proved there's still one pistol out there that nobody lets go for long, no matter what it costs. I sold my first SIG Sauer P365X macro, thinking I could live without it. That was the mistake. I told myself any slim 9mm would do. Grabbed something new, something with hype, figured I wouldn't notice the switch. But every single day, carrying that replacement, there was this nagging emptiness on my belt. The draw felt wrong, grip never settled, even the trigger felt like I was faking it. Didn't matter what the ads promised or how much praise the forums handed out. Nothing about the new gun fit the way the X Macro did. I tried to shrug it off, kept saying, it's just a pistol, you'll adjust. Even forced myself to run extra drills, thinking I'd eventually wear it in. But I'd walk into the shop and find myself glancing at the SIG case, remembering how that old X Macro disappeared under a shirt and stayed comfortable through the worst Texas summer. One night, after leaving the replacement in the truck, my hand went to my sides and came up empty. That cut deeper than any buyer's remorse. The very next morning, I bought the X Macro back. It rides with me now, but I can't say I trust myself not to make the same mistake twice. A friend borrowed my PDP for a match, ran it, won, and refused to give it back. I let it go, thinking I could get by with my old standby. But at the next range day, every missed shot felt like a stepping backward. That edge was gone. A week later, I picked up a second PDP for myself. This one never left my kit. I didn't just carry it. I ran it harder than any pistol I'd owned. Burned through box after box. Left it dirty. Dragged it to matches and back, waiting for some flaw to show itself. I kept thinking it'd jam or let a flyer sneak through when I started getting lazy, but it just took the punishment. The more I abused it, the better it shot. The PDP wasn't about some fluke session or first-timer luck. It proved itself with sweat and frustration, right up until trust replaced doubt. Not every pistol survives that kind of test, or earns a place twice over. But if you think a pistol can only win you over with pure accuracy, wait till you see the one that changed my mind about run and gun reliability. It was late spring, 2024. I'd gone into the shop, dead set on picking up a used Glock. Already knew the price, even checked the serial number online. Last thing I needed was a salesman in my ear, but that's exactly what I got. The guy kept steering me toward a CZ P10, wouldn't let up about some new shipment and end-of-month special. After an hour, he finally hands me a mag and says, just try it on the range. I ran a few rounds, didn't hate it, didn't love it, but I was sick of standing there arguing. Bought it out of impatience more than interest. That pistol sat around for weeks, maybe a box or two at the range, mostly just living in the safe. It was the backup, the mistake buy, until my main carry went down with a busted recoil springs and a 2-week wait on parts. Had to grab the CZ, no other choice. Figured I'd regret it, but in the middle of a rushed training day, it ran like it belonged there. No malfunctions, no quirks, just quiet consistency. That annoyed me more than anything. I ended up buying a second P10C, not out of affection, just because some guns don't care what you think. Funny how you never planned to be a CZ guy. I've got an old friend out in Nevada, spent years on the job with their police department. The M&P9 2.0 Compact wasn't some new favorite or status symbol, just the sidearm they all trusted. Run hard on the street, banged up in holsters, shot through thousands of rounds. That department didn't care about hype. They cared about what worked. After enough years and enough calls, the brass started worrying about fatigue. Some pistols showed worn parts, others felt loose at the slide, and rumors of mechanical issues crept through the squad room. No panic, just the cold facts of metal on metal and how time wears down every tool. So the department made the call, sell off the old guns, buy fresh M&P 9 2.0s, same model, brand new, out of the box. My friend didn't hesitate. He traded his own years-old duty pistol for a replacement, even though he'd carried the first through everything and knew every scratch. Didn't matter. This was about trust in what's proven and knowing when to make a clean swap before trouble finds you. Watching him make that swap killed off any idea I had that newer is always better. Sometimes it's just about what still gets the job done when it matters. For some, buying twice isn't love, it's the job. Next up, a pistol that showed up out of nowhere and put every safe bet on notice. Last year, Texas changed up the reciprocity rules for concealed carry, and it threw my whole system off. My main pistol, what I trusted for years, suddenly didn't cover me everywhere I needed to go. Couple border states clamped down on capacity, another tweaked requirements for safeties, and MAGA disconnects. Felt like overnight, half my safe was off limits for travel. I spent a week digging through every option. The only thing that ticked all the boxes, capacity, compliance, comfort, was the Hellcat Pro. Wasn't my first pick, never even landed on my radar before that, but the law forced my hand. Bought one out of pure necessity, started running it on road trips, and anytime I crossed the state line. It worked, but every time I swapped pistols for another trip, there was that flicker of panic. Did I pack the right one, or was I about to get caught with the wrong pistol in the wrong place? Just one slip, and you're facing trouble that doesn't go away with an apology. So I bit down and picked up a second Hellcat Pro. One rides Texas, the other lives in the glove box or travel bag. Both for the same damn reason. It's the only pistol that kept me legal everywhere I needed to be. I never thought best would mean most acceptable to the lawyers, but that's how it shook out. Next up, a pistol that didn't just follow the rules. It broke every expectation I had about modern carry. First week of January, my buddy cornered me with a question. If you had to buy one pistol twice, what would it be? I didn't answer right away. There's a lot riding on giving real advice, especially to someone you trust. I kept coming back to the Ruger RXM. It wasn't just a name out of a hat. It was the one I doubled up on without hesitation, and not for show. Told him I'd explain on the way, and we jumped in the truck, headed to G&G. On that drive, we ran through every alternative. He tossed out Glock, Smith, even some plastic wonders I wouldn't own twice on a dare. I kept circling back to the RXM, ran it hard, carried it daily, and never found a reason to look elsewhere. At G&G, he picked one up, felt the weight, checked the sights. Watching him run his thumb along the slide, I remember the first time I did the same, and realized if this gun chokes, it's on me. If it stumbles for him, I don't get to shrug it off or call it bad luck. If that RXM lets him down, I'm the one who looks like a fool. He walked out with his RXM. Sometimes buying twice is about trust. Sometimes it's betting your name on a gun for someone else. Next up, the only pistol I've seen whole crowds rebuy, and nobody can quite explain why until they shoot it. When the Beretta APX-A1 launched, I jumped fast. Trusted the name, trusted the specs, figured it was time to try something new. First batch looked the part but didn't hold up. Mine chewed through springs, jammed under pressure, and finally landed in a recall. Sold it back and swore off Beretta. Couldn't stomach the idea of running a gun that left me stranded at the line. For months, I caught flack from friends. Some backed out early, others just lived with the issues. I figured I'd made my mistake and moved on. But something changed halfway through the year. Word started coming in from shooters I trust, range owners, trainers, even a couple stubborn Beretta fans, saying the fixed version was the real deal. More than one of those guys had dumped the first one and then bought the new APX-A1, this time with zero regrets. Against my better judgment, I picked up another. I told myself, first hiccup, and it's gone. That hiccup never came. Range trips, drills, hard runs, it just kept working. Still, every time I cleaned it, I found myself watching for ghosts. Giving a pistol a second shot isn't about sentiment, It's about seeing if a fix actually fixes and whether you can risk your trust twice. I never stopped checking for cracks, but the APX A1 finally delivered what the first one promised. If you think that's rare, stick around for the bonus. A pistol. Folks keep dragging back into rotation, even after it's burned them more than once. I already had an HK VP9 sitting in the safe. Never let me down, but there's always that itch to see if a gun is as tough as people say. Last year, I decided to quit guessing and run a real test. Picked up a second VP9 from the local pawn shop. Strictly for abuse. No collector's urge. No backup plan. Just wanted to see if it would break when I stopped treating it nice. Lined them both up, put them through every bit of hell I could think of. Cheap steel case ammo, sand, dirty drills, no cleaning, no breaks. Waited for a jam or crack. Something to prove the reputation was just talk. Nothing happened. Both pistols ate every round, kept cycling, never flinched. I swapped parts, ran mags from one to the other, even let friends try to limp wrist it into a failure. In the end, all I got for my trouble was 2 VP9s that refused to quit. And no wild story about a breakdown or a surprise flaw. Sometimes you buy twice just to find the weakness, and the only answer is silence. That's when you know a legend is real, even if the proof is boring as hell. Anyone can get caught up and buy a pistol once. Plenty do, but only a handful ever convince you to come back for a second round. Those are the keepers, the ones that still haunt you when you think you're done shopping. Every gun on this list made it through regret, upgrades, and all the noise. Some left my hands, only to end up right back in my safe. That's when you know it wasn't hype, it was earned. If you've ever circled back for a repeat, I want to hear the story. Because that kind of loyalty isn't just rare, it's real. Which pistol made you double back? Which one nearly pulled you in for a third? Drop it below. I'm Steve, and for some guns, once just isn't enough.